Mandhana, thanks a lot for joining in. And as somebody who represents and is a part of this industry, what is your first cut reaction on this big development?
Well, it was quite expected. I think government has been in talks for quite some time about this issue. And well, this will, however, see a lot of influx of foreign single brands entering our markets freely now. And for the consumers, I think they will have a lot many more choices to shop from. And I think world is becoming one now, and with all these foreign brands coming into the country and setting their stores or shops or businesses, will make the market even more dynamic. And obviously, it's time to pull the socks and tighten the screws with all the domestic brands and domestic companies, because now they are competing with world players. So it will make the market more dynamic, and also at the same time, one has to gear up to prepare to fight the competition.
Well, okay, that's the opinion of Mr. Manish Mandhana. Sir, thank you so much for stating your opinion. Do you think that retail of India is geared up to compete with these foreign brands, as you are mentioning? What strategic changes would retail outlets in India would have to bring in to compete with these global players once they start coming in?
Well, modern retail is all about having your logistics and supply chains in the right places, and this will enable all the Indian companies to gear up and improve their efficiencies. Obviously, they have an edge over the foreign brands because they know the dynamics of Indian market much better than the foreign players. However, the society is changing, very fast, and the younger generation, which is the key growth driver of our country, I think, adopts to the changes very, very fast. Obviously, India is pretty new as far as modern retail is concerned, and there are a lot of areas which need to be improved. Efficiencies need to be improved. The person who works on the shop floor needs to, enhance his skills. This will also give a lot of job opportunities to new young breed of talents, working for these organizations. However, the market is going to be much more competitive now. So I think all the companies need to focus and gear up and focus on technology. I think that's the future of retail worldwide. A lot of things have been replaced by technology, so we'll all have to upgrade our workings.
No, one last question before we thank you. When competition rises, we see that there are generally price wars which happen. Do you anticipate that to make inroads in our market, these big players who might come to our country and set up their outlet might get into a price war in retail segment, and that would overall lead to some kind of disruption?
Yes, it has been the scenario worldwide. I think all these retailers, especially, for example, in the field of fashion where we operate, guys like Uniqlo, Primark, H&M, all these guys, have entered the world markets and created quite a disturbance for established brands who operated with limited capacity of stores, because these are world chains and they come with high investment, and economies of scale do work for them, making life difficult for the rest of the players and more competitive. However, I think the fact of the matter is every company needs to improve and enhance the customer service experiences, apart from having competitive price, because the world is moving towards value retail. So obviously, clothing and fashion especially is not a luxury anymore. It's a necessity, and it's quite disposable. So I think we'll all have to be extremely competitive, but the government has to help us in offering special subsidies, and also the import policies has to be looked upon, because all these brands have the capacity to source merchandise worldwide. However, the Indian companies are mainly focused on Make in India. So it's a little bit of a contradictory move by the government, but uh, there has to be some correction in the policies of import as well.
That's a very interesting point brought up by you. We hope people are listening. But talking about, the kind of clash that we could see between the domestic players versus the MNC and these global fashion brands and other segments, of course. So what kind of a growth can you project as far as the Indian single branded retail and especially apparel segment is concerned going forward?
I think it's a very fast-moving business, especially when it comes to apparel and fashion. And as I mentioned earlier, the fashion is disposable now, and people change clothes more often than they did before. So obviously, when it comes to growth, the companies which are, which have invested in IT, infrastructure, distribution, logistics, will definitely have a better positioning in this scenario. And the companies that have not really focused on these aspects will have to gear up to fight the competition, because here we are competing with world players who are seasoned in whatever they do.
Thank you, Mr. Manish Mandhana, for joining us and sharing your insight. What would be the implications of this development in the retail space? Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you so much.